year, May 2026. So this weekend we're going to showcase Welsh Labour at its best. We'll be respectful in debate, united in our values and focused on delivery. So can we ask that all mobile phones are switched onto silent or even off would be better. And if the fire alarm sounds, it is not a drill. So if fire alarm sounds, will you please follow the emergency signage and take instructions from the stewards and the staff. And I usually say at this point, if you want to follow me, because I'll be one of the first out of the building. So there we go. We have a live translation service available, and there are around some 200 headsets which will be prioritised for voting delegates, so to ensure that all the Welsh language contributions are heard. The translation equipment she's sat to my right, and therefore if you need a headset, will you please go and see her? So that's great. Thank you. We're now going to move on to the Standing Orders Committee report. There's some interference going on here somewhere. Anyway, we'll move on to Standing Orders report. I call on Nigel Gibbs, who's the chair of the Standing Orders Committee, to present the Standing Orders Committee's report. Nigel.
Okay, well, good morning, everybody. Welcome from Llandudno in lovely weather, which is a rare occurrence, as has already been said. I'm pleased to introduce this report as chair of the Standing Orders Committee. Can I thank, first of all, the members of this committee for their work in preparing us for conference this year. We have a full agenda, so I will now present the report of the SOC along with the final agenda of conference business for your approval. The SOC report has been made available for collection by delegates upon arrival. I hope you've all managed to pick one up successfully. This includes the motions the committee has accepted for the conference agenda. Can I first turn to the motions? The SOC took the decision not to run a priorities ballot this year owing to the number of motions that were received and accepted. So all the motions that were accepted and ruled in order will be debated on the conference floor this weekend. A total of 13 motions will therefore be debated at conference, which can be found by title on page 3 and are printed in full from page 8 onwards. The SOC report also sets out those motions that were ruled out of order from page 23 with a brief summary of the reasons why these motions were ruled out of order. You will of course be aware that the job of the SOC is to apply the rules as agreed by this conference. The motions will be called for debate as indicated on the agenda, starting on page 32 at the back of the report. And very important note, you should make sure your delegation leader collects their card vote packs from the party store stand at store 36, just outside the main hall. Those have to be collected as early as possible by 3 p.m. today at the latest. At this point, only lost or damaged ballots will be reissued. Please also note the information regarding nominations in section 6 of the report on page 5. Due to the number of nominations received, there are only 2 ballots running this year. The remaining SOC places for males and the places for the affiliate section for the WPF. Ballot papers for these 2 elections are included in your voting packs, which, as previously mentioned, can be collected until 3 p.m. from the admin desk next to the Welsh Labour stand at stall 36. This is also where the ballot box is located for those 2 ballots. Both ballots will close at 5 p.m. today, with the results to be announced during the Chief Scrutineer's report tomorrow morning. A note about literature. Delegates are reminded that literature should only be distributed in the conference venue following approval by the SOC. We had a couple of requests yesterday which we did pass. For approval of any such literature, please take a sample to the Welsh Labour stand at stall 36, marked for the attention of the SOC with a contact name and number. As ever, we are very grateful to the stewards, tellers and scrutineers for their work at conference this year, and I would say every single member at the conference, because we're all part of the conference together. The SOC hopes you all have a successful conference, and One other note, we are of course available to meet any delegates who may have concerns about conference business. Please take a note to the Welsh Labour stand at stall 36 if you need to speak to us. I will happily answer any questions members may have. Thank you, Conference, and I formally present our report for your approval.
Thanks very much. So, thanks very much, Nigel, and thank you as well to you as the Chair and to the SOC for all the hard work in getting the conference to the position that we are in today. So, are there any questions to the Chair of the Standing Orders Committee? No. If not, then can I ask then that we accept the SOC's report for conference? Can people please show, delegates please show, all those in favour? Thank you. Against anybody? No, that's great. Well, thanks very much, and thanks, Nigel, for that again. Thank you. So we're just going to move on now to our Welcome to Conference. The Welcome to Conference this year, it's now my pleasure to invite Becky Gittins MP for Clwyd East to give our official welcome. So, thank you.
Good morning, Conference. This is a Welsh conference, so I am going to need a reply to that. Good morning, Conference.
Good morning.
Much better. It is my privilege to open our annual conference here in beautiful Llandudno, almost 1 year after our fantastic landslide general election victory here in Wales. Conference is a great opportunity to connect with colleagues, get inspired by speeches, contribute to debates, learn at fringe events, and take stock of where we are as a Welsh Labour family. To recognise just how far we've come, to shout about how much we have delivered for Wales, to celebrate the fact that for the first time in 14 years, we have 2 Labour governments in Wales and Westminster. I don't need to tell people in this room how long we have wanted that and how hard we have all worked to make that happen. And it wouldn't have happened without all of the doors that you knocked on, the calls that you made, and the leaflets that you delivered. So I want to once again take the opportunity to give my thanks to everyone who got involved. And now we are reaping the dividends of that general election result. But it's not enough to say, job done, we've got 2 Labour governments and now we can sit back. It's our duty, Conference, to let the people of Wales know how this affects their lives, how this benefits them in the ways that matter most to them, in our NHS, in transport, in good, well-paid jobs, in security, in housing, and in workers' rights. Because we all know that we've got the most important election since devolution coming quickly around the corner. All eyes are firmly on May 2026 and making sure that we are telling voters not just what our bold forward offer is, but also what is at stake in this election. So I encourage you to make the most of this conference, visit the exhibition hall, listen in and contribute to debates, learn from panels and fringe events, and get inspired by our fantastic speakers. This is a moment to take stock, get inspired, and then go out there into our communities and put it into action. I wish you all a very enjoyable weekend here in Llandudno. Diolch yn fawr.
Thanks very much for that, Becky. So I think the next bit on the agenda is the Chair's report or Chair's address. I'm not going to move to the lectern. I don't like standing at lecterns. I gave that up some years ago. So there we go. So I'm going to deliver my address from here, if that's all right. So conferences we've already heard from Becky. We're set for a packed weekend with a range of fringes, workshops and training complementing the main business of the conference. And as we already know, we're almost 1 year on from that historic general election win. And gosh, wasn't that a win? That was superb, wasn't it? Can we remember that far back? And it really was. And in just over a month's time, we'll celebrate 1 year since Eluned Morgan became the leader of Welsh Labour and Wales' first female First Minister. So that's another success. And so that means it's been almost 1 year of power in partnership, a very, very good power in partnership with two Labour governments working together for the people of Wales. And it has been a year that we should be proud of, and we should go out there and be proud to tell people of the successes that we've had. Because from securing the biggest funding settlement for the Welsh Government in the history of devolution, which is investing £26 billion for services in Wales, to delivering £445 million for rail in this month's spending review. We can now be more ambitious than ever, and the results of working together are clear as we continue to deliver on the things that matter most to the people of Wales. So this weekend is an opportunity to reflect and build on those successes, as well as the hard work that you as members and we as a party have put in. As we look ahead to the next year's crucial Senedd elections, it will be an ask from me and also a reminder to me to go and do a little bit more, and do that little bit more and go that little bit extra to make sure that we have the success in the 2026 Senedd elections. We have a packed agenda conference, and I want to ensure that we will hear from as many delegates as possible this weekend. And so to that end, and those of you who know me know what I'm going to say next, I will be strict in enforcing the SOC report section on the time that people have to speak. And I have a magic box here that's got a mute button for the mics. And I like using that. So there we go. So this is to ensure that our debates are fair to all, and so that any first-time speaker rightly knows what to expect and how best to prepare. And if you are a first-time speaker, it's not as daunting as you think it's going to be. We've all done a first-time speech, and we've all done first-time speeches at different organisations. And actually, we're a warm and welcoming conference, and you'll get the support that you need. So please, if you are a first-time speaker, don't think it's not for you. Just come up and tell us what you think on the debates. So the smooth running of our conference is also supported by the volunteers who have given up their time to serve as stewards. The stewards are there to help the conference run as efficiently as possible. And so I would expect all delegates and visitors to cooperate politely when stewards are advising you. Remember, the stewards have given their time freely to allow this conference to go ahead. I'm looking forward to respectful debates this weekend that will show our party at its best, with speakers representing the rich mix of talent, experience and expertise that we know exists across and within our party. So I hope you all enjoy the weekend, and thank you very much for listening, conference. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Thank you. Okay. Right, we've got an issue with the lectern mic, I think, so which we're going to try and sort out. So I think we can move on and do the...
I can take the Treasurer's report.
Yeah, so I'm now going to take the Treasurer's report. Sorry, we're jumping the agenda slightly, but...
No, that's correct.
Oh, is it correct on the agenda? Sorry, my script says the Treasurer's report coming later. So we take the Treasurer's report, and... as our Treasurer, Deb Davis, who's done an amazing amount of work this year, unfortunately she's not able to join us this year, and so with conference approval, I'll be giving the Treasurer's report for the year. So I don't see anybody objecting, that's great. I will now present the report and the financial statements for the financial years ending on December the 31st of 2024. This report is prepared to help meet the obligations under the Political Parties, Elections and Referendum Act of 2000. First, I'd like to offer thanks to the Auditor David Gale for his work on the accounts, and I'd also like to place on record sincere thanks to our affiliates and members for their donations last year. Those donations helped us to deliver exceptional campaigns during the year. And finally, it's my pleasure to present the report and financial statements to conference, As the accounts are signed off by auditors, I have no qualifying comments to make and will present the report for your approval. So can I seek approval from the conference to accept the Treasurer's report? Thank you. Oh, that's great. Thank you very much. So that's accepted. And again, with thanks to Deb for the tremendous work that she's done over the 12 months. Right. Yeah, so we're going to have a short pause, but I don't want everybody drifting out. So can you just all talk amongst yourselves and decide about what your next canvassing session is going to be in your particular areas, and you know, just sign people up and do all that sort of thing, and make sure they all know where they're.
Don't leave the hall.
Yeah, please don't leave the hall though. That's that. So those of you who run campaign sessions can sign people up for their next campaigning sessions, and golden opportunity for you to do that. So there we go. Come to the stage. Ellen?
Good morning, conference. My name is Ellen Heaton and I'm a councillor in Prestatyn East and serve as the Cabinet Member for Health and Social Care at Denbighshire County Council.
Hey.
When we last met here in Llandudno, we were celebrating all the hard work we as a party put into securing an historic election win and ending 14 years of Tory chaos. It was a significant moment for us all and meant that two Labour governments could work together to invest in our public services and secure a fairer future for working people. Now, as we meet here in Llandudno once again, we are looking ahead to the most important election in the history of devolution. Everything we have worked for and delivered for the people of Wales over the last 26 years is at stake, and the risk of divisive political agendas has never been greater. But we are also presented with a unique opportunity. We now have a UK government that is back in Wales and recognising not only the record of delivery that we have here, but also the enormous potential this country has. We have two Labour governments working together to empower local communities, fight for our NHS, invest in our towns and cities, and put more money in people's pockets. And all of this is possible because we have two strong Labour leaders we now have in government, Keir Starmer and Lyned Morgan. So, as we look towards another historic election in 2026, it's time to show what we can do with two Labour governments at the helm. It's time to show what our two Labour leaders can do with power and partnership and ambitious plans for the future. Today, it is my honour to welcome the man who has led us to that incredible general election victory, our Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, with this short video.
Keir Starmer. Ac nawr, rydym yn croesawu ein prif weinidog, Keir Starmer.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you, conference. And thank you, Ellen. That was absolutely fantastic. And I don't think you mentioned that you were 22 when you were first elected. And I think you're the youngest member of a cabinet anywhere in Wales. So fantastic, Ellen. And it's really great to be back here for this conference, to enjoy once more the beauty of Wales and the hospitality, of course, of the Welsh people. And yesterday, I was up at the Trainee Pilot Centre at RAF Valley up in Anglesey, which is incredible. Beautiful place, incredible people. And I had the chance to meet the families of those that are training there. They're training to be pilots to go from Anglesey off to further training then to the front line. But to them and their families, I had the great honour of announcing that our Armed Forces Covenant, our promise to treat our forces with the respect and dignity that they deserve, will be put fully into law, because this country will always stand by those who have stood up for us. And that is what this government was elected to do, to serve the millions of people who serve this country. And can you believe it, as Ellen said, it's almost a year since the general election. A year since we kicked the Tories completely out of Wales, painted the nation red, with a record 27 Welsh Labour MPs, many of them here in the room with us this morning. And if this first year was about clearing up the mess the Tories left, a vital and necessary task, now our focus is firmly on the future, ushering in the next phase of this government. And that's what the Chancellor began in the spending review earlier this month. A Labour spending review by a Labour government making Labour choices. And just look at the difference here in Wales. £22.5 billion per year for the next 3 years. That's an extra £5 billion for the Welsh Government. 16,500 jobs with 2 new free ports in the Celtic Sea and Anglesey, 2 new investment zones in Wrexham and Flintshire and Newport and Cardiff, connecting communities with a £445 million investment into railways in Wales, upgrading the Core Valley Line, improving links between key industries, and building 5 new stations across Wales, and more than £200 million for local growth funds. Not just this year, not just next year, but every year for the next 3 years. That's your victory conference. That's the difference that you make. A Wales back in the service of working people. And look, we're only just getting started. There is still a lot more to do to deliver the change that people voted for last year. And I want to thank Ellen Ed, a fierce champion for Wales, a fantastic First Minister, putting her heart and soul into delivering for this country, and the best person to lead Wales into the future. And Carolyn and Joe, my colleagues and my friends, who fought for Wales every step of the way, making sure that the people of Wales are at the forefront of what we're doing in Westminster. Because, conference, let me tell you, in everything I do, on home or on the world stage, I know who I am fighting for. I know who's in my mind's eye, the important thing in politics. The Welsh workers that I speak to at businesses like Airbus in Broughton, or the Bretford Forest wind farm, the communities I visited on the campaign trail last year, from Abergavenny to Carmarthen. Because let me tell you this, the world is changing around us. We've entered a new era. That's in defence, in trade, in industry, in technology. In fact, across the board. Change that has and will impact almost every aspect of our lives. Now, previous governments have made a choice to stick their heads in the sand, pretend it's not happening. And working people have paid the price with rising insecurity, bills that went through the roof because of our exposure to energy markets controlled by tyrants like Putin, politicians who didn't make the investment we needed in the technology and industries of the future, which meant not just the loss of jobs, loss of income, but also the loss of a way of life, including in communities here in Wales. I know that. I know how tough that is. And that's why this government is making different choices, even when they are difficult, like welfare. We cannot take away the safety net that vulnerable people rely on, and we won't. But we also can't let it become a snare for those who can and want to work. And everyone agrees that our welfare system is broken, failing people every day. A generation of young people written off for good, and the costs spiralling out of control. Fixing it is a moral imperative, but we need to do it in a Labour way, conference. and we will. Protecting those who need it most. Investing millions in mental health support. Reforming our NHS so people aren't stuck on waiting lists for years on end. Building council homes for people to build their lives around. Programmes and good jobs to get people back into work, and the stronger rights that workers deserve. More opportunities, more homes, better support conference. That is the Labour way. Our job is to rise to the moment, finally, to fix what is broken and seize the changes that are happening so we can make them work for working people. I know that this is possible. Take our 3 trade agreements conference. Now, people said it couldn't be done. What they meant was they couldn't do it. The hat trick of deals with the world's largest economy, the US. Remember, for years, people talked about the US deal. We came along and we did it. With the world's fastest growing economy, India. The Tories talked about that one for 8 years. Remember that? We came along and we did it. And the world's biggest trading bloc, the EU. People said, well, you can't have a deal with the EU and the US. And we came along, conference, and we did it. All of those trade deals boosting Welsh businesses, like Penderyn Whisky, an iconic Welsh brand, with better market access to overseas markets, putting more money in the pockets of Welsh people, cutting prices for Welsh shoppers, but also building brand Wales across the world. Because the truth is that today our alliances are the currency of security. And in a more dangerous world, national security is economic security. This is the argument we must make and the argument we must win. Our enemies think that we should turn our back on the world, but we know we cannot afford to ignore reality. And at the NATO summit earlier this week, we played a key part in ensuring that the alliance emerged stronger, fairer, and better able to deal with the challenges that we face. I committed 5% to defence spending, playing our part on the world stage, keeping Wales safe. But at the same time, ensuring that we invest the increased spend in jobs and technology in Wales, good, well-paid, skilled jobs. A defence dividend, if you like. Not just for the 6,000 defence jobs already in Wales, but for many more to come. A defence dividend felt in the pockets of working people. And as we mark Armed Forces Day, we will continue to treat our forces with the respect they deserve, with the largest pay rise for the military in 20 years, putting veterans at the front of the queue for social housing, upgrading 800 military homes in Wales, so our heroes have the homes that they deserve. So yes, conference, we will keep our country safe. We will build on our strengths here at home. And that, of course, is what our modern industrial strategy is all about. We launched it earlier this week. It was a really proud moment for all of us. A turning point for the UK and Wales. A new relationship between business and government. And a springboard for investment and growth. From aerospace in North Wales to the world's first compound semiconductor cluster in South Wales. A relentless focus on the industries of tomorrow, with £30 million for local innovation in Wales, crowding in investment with the National Wealth Fund, cutting energy bills for business by up to 25%. They've been asking for that for a very, very long time to make us more competitive with other countries. What a difference that will make for businesses like Port Talbot, creating thousands upon thousands of good, well-paid jobs, a better, brighter future for Wales. But while we're planning the future, there are those who are firmly stuck in the past. Take Farage. When you ask him about Clacton, he thinks it's running in the 210 at Ascot. A wolf in Wall Street clothing. Because Reform claimed to be the party of patriotism while sucking up to Putin and abusing our armed forces online. They say they're the party of workers, while they vote against workers' rights, intending to charge people to use the NHS and plan unfunded tax cuts for billionaires. We already know what happens when you make billions of pounds of unfunded tax commitments conference. It's Liz Truss all over again. So no, Nigel Farage isn't interested in Wales. He's interested in Nigel Farage. And he takes people for fools. Just look what he said earlier this month. Going to Port Talbot, pretending he's got a plan to reopen a blast furnace, when he's got no idea what he's talking about. And he's got no plan at all. Let's be clear what Reform's plans would mean in practice. Cancelling the electric arc furnace. That's cancelling the construction work that's on track to start in just a few weeks' time. Cancelling. Cancelling the 5,000 jobs it will bring. That tells you everything you need to know about Reform. Not creating jobs, throwing jobs away. Now, while he's looking backwards, we're looking forward to the future. You all know the mess we inherited from the last government on Port Talbot conference. I've been there a number of times to talk to the workers and apprenticeships. I promised them before the election that this government would future-proof their industry, which is why we've committed to the future of Welsh steel, backing communities in Port Talbot, and delivering a fully funded £80 million transition board to support the shift to green steel. Port Talbot will continue to play a vital role in steel production, in our clean energy mission, and in manufacturing for decades to come. But at the same time, we're investing in carbon capture, in hydrogen production, offshore wind, that will create thousands of good jobs and boost living standards across the country. Wales will be at the heart of the clean energy revolution. And conference, we're doing right by mining communities. In the spending review, we announced £118 million for coal tip safety. That's on top of the £25 million from the budget last year to keep communities safe. And the First Minister lobbied for that and delivered for Wales. And I am proud that we righted the historic injustice of mine workers' pensions. So mine workers will get the pensions that are rightfully theirs. So next year it's a clear choice. Two Labour governments working together for the people of Wales, continuing on the course of change that we've set, with almost £5 billion extra for Wales, money for employment support and training to break down the barriers to opportunity, money for neighbourhoods driving growth and restoring pride in your community, more money for the NHS, for infrastructure, more money for the people of Wales. Or there's the other option, the risk of rolling back all the progress we're making, a return to the chaos and division of the last decade, a backroom stitch-up between the Tories, Reform and Plaid. And once again, it will then be working families left to pick up the bill. Whether that's with Reform or with Plaid's determination to cut Wales off from the rest of the country, with no plan to put Wales back together. No conference. People do want change, urgently. I know that. These other parties, they talk a big game, but who is actually delivering it? Who's delivering the record uplift in Welsh funding Labour. Who raised the minimum wage, putting £1,400 in the pockets of the lowest paid? Labour. Who's saving families £150 on their energy bills this winter? It's Labour. Who secured the triple lock, extended the carers allowance, made pensioners £400 better off? It's Labour. Who's delivered stronger works for writers, for workers? Sick pay, maternity, ending fire and rehire. It's Labour. This is the party that's got wages rising faster in the first 10 months than the Tories managed in 10 years. This is the government that's cutting bills and creating jobs. This is the movement that will rebuild Britain and renew Wales. So when people ask you, who's got the interests of working people at heart, the answer each and every time is Labour. It's always been the Labour Party. It always will be the Labour Party. The party of working people across every corner and community of this country. A stronger union with Labour, a richer nation with our plan for change, and a brighter future with Eluned Morgan as First Minister of Wales. Thank you, conference. Diolch. Enjoy your conference. Eluned. Yeah,
Exactly.
good.
We're on the same page.
Yeah. You're on this afternoon.
Yeah, we're saying more or less the same thing in a different way.
Great
Thank
stuff.
you very much.
See you later, Joe.
Thank you. Well done.
See you later.
Brilliant.
See you later.
Well done. Thank you.
See you later. Thanks very much. Enjoy your conference. Thank you. Thank you.
Much, Keir. You're always welcome here in Wales, and it's wonderful to have a UK Labour government working in partnership with the Welsh government.